Hello, and you're very welcome back to Tap 91, which is covering Sunday, day 2 of the Dublin Racing Festival. Dec, how are things since the last time I spoke to you about 10 minutes ago?
Good. Look, you've put up a couple of 50 to 1 winners, so you know we're all in great form and Tap 91. Looking forward to the Sunday.
Awesome. Right, well, I suppose we can jump straight into this.
Just before we start, I suppose just because it is Leopardstown the weekend, I think it would be important to mention they've done a piece on John Coyley, who's rising 87, still going strong. Dave Keane had done the work, who I don't know if anyone's seen Dave's work, like it's absolutely excellent. And you'll probably see Dave there the weekend with the camera. Every time I go racing, I see him. So definitely check it out because it's well worth watching. It's a very good piece.
Awesome. Yeah, good old John Coyley. Is he still riding now? I wonder.
No, he stopped since he broke the leg, I think.
Broke his leg, ago. Yeah. What a man. Good old... fine string of horses that he's had. Obviously, the JP McManus horse,
Carlingford Lock.
Carlingford Lock. I certainly see Carnegie Lock, but yeah, Carlingford Lock, he was Mr. Leopardstown, really, wasn't he? Like a fantastic horse.
He won a Butcherstown Gold Cup as well.
He did, yeah, he did, and I think he was McCoy's last Grade 1 winner. I think
it was McCoy's the only time McCoy won the Irish Gold Cup, which was the Hennessy back then. Yeah. The only time McCoy won it. It was the day after he announced his retirement.
Yeah, I think it was his last Grade 1 in Ireland.
Was Uxie not his last Grade 1 winner?
In the Ryanair?
Yeah, because that would have been a month later.
It may have been. But then it was his last in Ireland then, I would have thought.
It's definitely his last in Ireland, I'd say. But he beat Carlingford Lock, beat the mighty Q Card.
Yeah.
And the same year that Q Card won the Gold Cup.
He did actually, yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah.
He beat Gold Cup winner Q Card.
That's a good old Carlingford Lock. Some horse. Yeah, Gold Cup winner. Would have won the Gold Cup apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, Irish Stallion Farms, EBF, Paddy Mullins and Maureen Mullins mares handicap hurdle, listed handicap over 2.25 miles. Deck. That's what kicks us off on Sunday at 12:40. As we are recording on Thursday, the 30th of January, on obviously Thursday evening, we are without declarations, unfortunately, but I think we've a pretty strong idea, given that we have Saturday declarations. I think we'll be all right, Deck, won't we?
Look, we give it a good go anyway.
Yeah. So I suppose where do you want to start here, Deck? Obviously, it'd be nice to see Queen's Gamble. It looks like she is coming over.
Yeah.
Potential top weight there for Harry Durham. I believe the plan is to run, which is fantastic. It'd be great to see her. And then we've last year's winner who hasn't been up to much, but you couldn't rule out Bruccio. Even though she's 25 to 1, she wouldn't be without a chance. And then we have the one of the most expensive horses bought last year for the National Hunt Fair, Qualamita, in here at 11 to 2, who our friend Luke Keane actually quite fancied for this race.
Yeah.
Who do you like here, Deck, for the opener?
This is I always feel like you have to approach this race differently to any other handicap.
Okay, why so?
I don't know. Just the mares only. Are you looking for? You're looking for the greatest class mare, I think. Are you? Or
unique enough distance as well. You can do. You can look for like it sometimes is won by a mare that promises a lot but doesn't quite live up to it. Like Bruccio, as you said, won it last year. We've seen Ballybomb Belter. A few others, Sassy Diva, mares that you thought could have really pressed on, but never really quite.
It's never won by a mare who's dropping down.
No, Heaven Help Us was probably the best one. Obviously, she won a Coral Cup after.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's never won by a mare who's been. Maybe there hasn't been any to try. I just think it's kind of a funny race. It's. I never feel like I'm looking for what I'm normally looking for in handicaps, and
okay.
But do you approach it the same way?
Yeah, mares races are always different, Deck, and I always say mares can always find themselves well handicapped, because sometimes when you race only against mares and you end up in some of these big spring handicaps, like we've seen mares do extremely well at the Cheltenham Festival. Obviously, I mentioned there, heaven help us. Like we've seen plenty of mares and I could go. I could definitely keep going. Obviously, there was I think a mare won the Pretense a few years ago as well, and
did the mare win for Milner's?
Mrs. Milner won the Pretense. Exactly right.
10 years, heaven help us.
Yeah. So like mares can find themselves well handicapped when they go up against the geldings, and that's why races like this, you need to take a close look at. You do have to approach it with a degree of caution. It's one of the harder handicaps on the card, but it can be rewarding if you find a winner, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, I like Joss O'Brien's Cotton Slow Sunshine anyway. Mm-hmm. She has got a mention on some recent taps. She beat Beaufort Storm and Dream On Baby. They were both second and third at Aurora Vega last weekend at Fairy House. She was third to Hayes Sunshine, but she actually ahead of the Great Nudie that day. And we've seen the Great Nudie win recently as well, a rated novice. She's also beaten Balco Dan, who's won a listed handicap, and she's beaten Arctic Lane, who is a decent yardstick and can be, you could work out form using Arctic Lane, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've never backed the winner of this race, but I think I'm going to back it this year.
Good, very good. I think I backed Sassy Diva all those years ago when I followed the Honeysuckle form. But that's how long ago. Like Honeysuckle was a novice, so yeah, that's the last time I backed the winner of this race. I was impressed, but obviously I was impressed by Heaven Help Us when she went and won the Coral Cup. So it has been a race I've followed often, and I followed Brucio last year, and she kind of let me down. Wouldn't surprise me if she jumped back to form. They've kept running her over 2 miles ever since her run at Kelso, and she just needs further. And I wouldn't be surprised if they, maybe having another cut at this race. 124, a little bit higher. I think she's £6 higher than when she won it last year, but you couldn't rule her out. Obviously, speaking about Heaven Help Us, Paul Hennessy in the same colours here has Finest Evermore, ex Willie Mullins. She ran fine, I suppose, in the Coral Cup. She finished mid-division in what was a pretty strong Coral Cup, to be honest with you. But she hasn't done a whole lot since, really. Pulled up twice, then beaten, basically, who was counting behind Cast a Spell, really. Paul Hennessy is the type of trainer that could get one, to come back from deplorable form, but you would have hoped that she would have showed a bit more. If she could find her old form, 127 is dangerous, but I don't think she will. The one I came down on deck, though, it's a similar enough form line, was actually Cast a Spell for Tom Hogan. She only won 2 weeks ago, or a little over 2 weeks ago at Cork. She's now rated 119 as a result of that. And the reason I kind of liked her, she beat Qualamita in a maiden at Navan in November, beat her 2 lengths, and was kind of well on top of the line. After Qualamita, I just don't think she finds that much, and that's kind of my problem with her. I think she's just still weak. I think she might be a nice mare next year. She could find herself well handicapped next year, maybe when they go chasing. But she still looks that bit weak in the finish, and Cast a Spell only has to give her £2 for those 2 lengths, but I think she was a little bit better value for that win at Navan in November. She's obviously in good form. Was only beaten 4 lengths by Aurora Vega on her penultimate start as well. Obviously won last time out, so she's in good form. So I would take a chance on her. She's quoted there 20-1. Keen Quirk has been getting on quite well with her, and assuming she is declared, I don't see why she wouldn't be. I would expect Keen Quirk to take the ride because he'd be able to claim off her again. So yeah, it'd be Cast a Spell for myself, deck, and then it's caught a Slow Sunshine for you, is it?
Sunshine. Actually, do you know what? I'd like to give Jeannie Macaroni a mention as well, because the horse that she's still on fire, that we discussed a lot, and she's ultra consistent. Maybe she chases horses, but she did win the last day. She got £8 for it. But as a 5-year-old, maybe she's beginning to strengthen up, and she's another one who could give this a right go, and another one trained by Joseph. But I'm keen enough on Cotton Slow Sunshine.
Cotton Slow Sunshine, right. 110 decks, the Ladbrokes Novice Chase, first grade 1 on the card on Sunday. This race is going to divide a lot of opinion. We currently have 10 entered, but obviously we're not going to see an Il Atlantique here. That goes without saying, but there's a good chance the rest of them show up. Don't know if Gordon will run all of his, but you know, he might, I suppose. We'll have to see. And then we have Vincent Halley with Arctic Skill, which is a good laugh. Why not? Right, so Ballyburn, the horse that is going to divide a lot of opinion. I know you have your thoughts. I think we completely disagree on this horse, I'm pretty sure, Dec.
Yeah.
So, look, we can't agree on everything, I suppose. And it'd be boring if we did. But you have one in here that you're very, very sweet on. But I was talking about the Gordon Elliott horses here, Dec. The betting on Croke Park is suggesting that his participation might be a little bit in doubt, that a dual grade 1 winner is 10-1 for this race. Would you agree?
Yeah, but if he's not getting spoken about anyway, so
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah,
you know, nobody likes him. Nobody has fancied him for any of the races he won. He won the Drinmore at 25s. He won at Christmas. I can't remember what price, but he wasn't fancy.
He wasn't favourite, yeah.
And nobody's talking about him for this race, so maybe he won't run. But I wouldn't let the betting suggest he's not going to run, because this fella could come and win here, and nobody will fancy him in March or the next time he runs. So I don't know what it is. He is a horse who showed a good bit of promise when he won his maiden at Navan, but he never really lived up to it over hurdles. But he's that typical kind of, you know, he's a Jigginstown horse. He's always going to be a chaser. We've seen it so many times. He's won his 2 grade 1s. There's so much to like about him. His attitude is great. Like even in the Drinmore, he beat a very experienced horse. The second season chaser in Hearts. What's the name of the horse? Heartwood.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I just don't think Ballyburn has looked like a natural over fences. And he was a very, very good hurdler. I think if he'd stayed hurdling, he would be short enough now for the champion hurdle. And he just hasn't looked the natural over fences. And he might never be a champion hurdler. Now I can see him going back over hurdles. I know we had the discussion about Kempton being a specialist track, and it's not even Kempton. I just don't think he's looked like a natural jumper at all. We had similar with Bob Ollinger, and look what he's doing now. So, like, just because you're point to pointer doesn't mean he's going to be a chaser. He just hasn't looked natural enough for me. Now, Impere Pass has kind of put the cat amongst the pigeons here as well.
He really has, hasn't he? Yeah.
He wasn't meant to be running here. So, look, I don't know. It's a race I'm really looking forward to seeing. I do hope Croke Park runs. But if not, I'm not sure where I'd go. Cam Chiley was impressive enough on his chasing debut, but you would be disappointed if a 9-year-old won it. Like, Idiot Antique's not going to run here. If it was Ballyburn, like a Berry Pass kind of horse, I found hard to warm to. And I love Ballyburn. That was a beautiful hurdler, but if Croke Park wasn't running, I'd probably... I don't know. Imperi Pass a bit nuts as well, though, isn't he? Like, I think
he has a reputation for it, but I don't think he's that bad, really. I think he's been heavily pigeonholed to being a 2.5 miler, and like it's just a given that he's not going to get 3 miles, which I don't see why you wouldn't at least try it. Like,
look,
you know,
look, the PJ Moriarty's been one of my favorite races on the calendar for a long time, and if Croke Park doesn't run, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. But if he does run, yeah, I fancy him, and he'd be a prize because nobody even seems to talk about him.
Yeah, you're right. In fairness, maybe it's because he just was quite an uninspiring hurdler after being such an expensive purchase. Because he was over 400 grand, wasn't he? After his
point, he was a walk in the park, I suppose.
Walk in the park, yeah. Like I think he let people down after his run in the. I suppose like he was actually a double figure price, I think, for the Slaney or the Lawlers or whatever. And then he was pulled up at Aintree, so it just never materialized for him. He showed a different attitude though, like in the Drinmore. Like he showed like I don't think anybody, I know you like the horse, but I don't think you expected him to win a sprint in the Drinmore. I don't think anybody expected him to win a Drinmore in a sprint. Like you could say maybe outstaying horse in a Drinmore, but he showed he was very tactically adverse. in a not tactically averse, that's the wrong word, tactically astute in that Drinmore, and he definitely wouldn't be ruled out here. But for me, I just think Ballyburn is very. I think people are hanging on that Kempton run. I know you're talking about that he's not a natural, but I'm just half wondering, is it because he had to jump around Ferryhouse on his own, like, and sometimes that's not easy. So, and then he goes to Kempton, and he's changed his legs, over a dozen times, I'd say, probably more, the whole way around. Like, he was on skates at Kempton, really struggled. And I think this is going to really suit him. Like, he was brilliant at Leopardstown last year. It was the best novice performance of the season last year, his win there. And I don't have too many reservations with his jumping. He was the best hurdler of these by a mile. Like, even though Imperi passed one open grade ones, I'd still think Ballyburn would have wiped the floor with him. And then you take Champ Kiley, who, as you said, Deck rightly said, is a 9-year-old. I think his chasing debut, like, he did it well, but like, he didn't beat a whole lot, and I don't see any reason why he'd beat Imperi Pass, never mind Ballyburn. So I think he can safely rule him out. I just think that Ballyburn, I still think he has all the potential in the world personally, and I think it just became cool online to kind of.
I'm not trying
this horse. No, I know you're not trying to be. You've made valid points and you fancy something else, but like, I've seen people say he's a stayer, like, and it's so obvious he's a 3-miler. But like, I still just don't see how you look at what he did in the 2-mile novice hurdle last year and think, Jesus, there's a proper staying chaser. Like, he was.
He was so fast. He was a champion hurdle horse.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd agree with you. I think they should have stayed hurdling too, but that's not the. I've always been of that opinion. I think if you run to the mid 160s, and you can always go back on form and question whether he actually ran to it, but if you get a mark of 163, 164, there's nearly no point in going chasing. Like, if you assuming you improve 6 or 7 pounds, or you continue to improve, like, why would you go chasing?
I would be quite, like, I love chasing.
Yeah.
I want to see them jumping fences, but if I owned a novice who would won a point to point, and he's been touted as a future Gold Cup horse, if he jump hurdles slick and well, now more than ever, I would not be going chasing, because the hurdling division, it's not like it was 20 years ago. I would be taking advantage of having a lovely slick hurdler, and there's not many around anymore, and there's not many horses who can hurdle like a champion hurdler. And now, I'm not saying he hurdled like a champion hurdler, but he could have this year. There's not many horses who can hurdle like a champion hurdler and jump well enough to win a Gold Cup. Well, I suppose there's only been one ever, but you know what I mean? There's not many horses who can hurdle like a champion hurdler and win open grade 1 chases. Yeah,
no, exactly. It's it's not impossible, as you said. There has been one, but there's a reason we haven't seen it for 40 years or something, so maybe even longer.
Everything gets rushed. Rushed. Novice chasing now more than ever, because they're bought from point to point fields. But like, you can take advantage of the weak division, 2-mile hurdling division, if you can hurdle well. You don't have to, just because you spent loads of money buying this future chaser, you don't have to rush down the chase route. And I'd have kept him hurdling, because I think he hurdles better than an awful lot of horses.
Yeah, sure, they've done it with brighter days ahead, haven't they? So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I still think Ballyburn will go and win this race. 4 to 7 is not my style, but I do think he'll win the race. I'd be interested to see how Priory Dancer gets on, because it does, as you were saying on Top 90, it does look like it's going to be fairly lively ground. Depending on how many of these handle it will be interesting. And I don't know how many horses have gone from finishing beaten 7 lengths by Jabbar in a 2-mile race at Dundalk and have gone on to win the PJ Moriarty on their next start, but that's what Priory Dancer is attempting if he is declared here. But no, it'd be
I'm interested in seeing Arctic Skewer, seeing what the plan is there. Does he have to get qualified for something? Or
I don't know. I think the plan is to get the owner trainer badges.
Has Vince Halley entered him and not realised, and now he's and now there's more money gone out of his HRI account?
James, we might as well run.
Major, I keep taking money out of me, like, you know. He's
Yeah,
still in there.
it's a very it's a dubious entry nonetheless, but look, all the power to them. Yeah, so it's Ballyburn from ADEC and Croke Park runs for you, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Right, on to the 140, the Tats Ireland Novices Hurdle. It's a 2-mile Grade 1 event. And this would be a painful one for you here, Deck, because Blue Devassi wasn't declared for the Golden Signet.
No.
He's in here. He's now a 3-1 poke, so from as high as 20s, maybe even higher. So it looks like they've decided to defer here. Willie Mullins has a good few runners, as you would not be surprised to hear. We have Kopek the boards and Kate Dahi.
Give us it. What is he being called these days?
Kopek to kick the boards out of the ground. He is now 8-11 as we record, for a horse that literally didn't jump.
Came back into the trade ring with 8 hurdles on his back legs.
And, yeah, and now he could just have blamed the fog. I don't know, but like, after seeing what Jasmine DeVoe did on his hurdling debut, and the betting public's rationale was he'll improve for a second start over hurdles, even though it was a Grade 1 over a longer trip, admittedly. So and it was heavy ground, so should be probably, if anything, easier to jump. This horse is going to be reverting to, well, not reverting, he's going to be staying at 2 miles, going into a Grade 1, probably on quicker ground than he encountered, and they expect him to jump like, you know, jump like a Istabrak or something. I think it's you couldn't give me enough money to take 8-11 on this horse. Obviously sound the engine clacks, and he obviously has a big one, but he's not, it's not for me. Who do you like?
Jeez, I don't know now. I'm very undecided in this race. Now that Blue Devassi has been put in here, I can't have kicked the boards out with his jumping. And even the Cowabunga form, I think William Money will reverse that form and if he settles a bit better the next time. Kate Dahi form being let down.
That's had the crap kicked out of it, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, but not just cocktail of it, because, you know, Henry's horses are clearly not running with the zest they should be running with. And Blue Devassi, I'm wondering, is the Romeo Coolio form just the best around? You know, if you're prepared to ignore the Royal Bond, is Romeo Coolio and what's the name of the horse in the Golden Signet Final Demand, is it?
Yeah.
Are they the 2 best novices around?
And it could be over here where you've Salvatore Mundi, don't you? And then I'm a big fan of Kiss Whale, but he hasn't proven it yet.
Well, that brings me to Relieve the Duties, you know, and I think his form is quite strong. He was toward the Salvador Mundi. He beat Magic McColgan, who tried to pull herself up after the last at Punchestown, and did win. He's reversed the form at Arctic Lane, a horse we mentioned earlier. Tells me he's improving. Now he could go to the Liffey. If Relieve the Duties goes to the Liffey, I think I will back Blue Devassi, because I'm coming around to believing that Romeo Coolio might be the man. I'm prepared to put a line through the Royal Bond. He was good. He got a good ride at Christmas. Blue Devassi plugged on after him, and that's why I was hoping he was going up and trip. But I'm actually wondering, did I ever really believe he did want that trip? Is Blue Devassi, you know, one of the top 2 milers in the novice division, but just not as good as Romeo Coolio? And Romeo Coolio on Final Demand streets ahead of everything else that's around. So I do like Relieve the Duties, but I just have a feeling he could go to the Liffey. And look, I'll take the 2 of them, Andy. I'll take the 2. Gardens 2. Blue Devassi and Relieve the Duties.
Yeah, okay.
I hope one of them runs.
You should. Look, I'd be surprised if Blue Devassi doesn't run at this rate. He's been backed as if he's a certain runner really now. I suppose like Bolger has Eastern Legend still in there, but he has a good 4 lengths, I think, to find with Blue Devassi. It'd be hard pressed to say he's going to find that. Interesting one for Martin Pipe purposes, though, if they do decide to go up and trip with him. Yeah, look, I think this race is leaving a little bit to be desired. I don't think we're going to be seeing any Spring Festival winners coming from it, not at 2 miles anyway. I think a few of these do hold potential up and trip, but I think this is a little bit weak. I think I'd still rather Kisswell and a few others that are not obviously not engaged here. The most interesting runner in this race now, and you might think is a bit mad, is probably Redemption Day. Obviously an exceptionally good bumper horse after spending, the majority of his life at 8 years of age and only had one hurdle start. He just never settled on his hurdling debut. He was well beaten by Work Ahead, but he never really had a chance, and the hood was left off. So I'm just wondering, will they bury him with a hood and just see how he runs, because he clearly has a lot of ability.
40 lengths or something, isn't he?
He was beaten a long way, and he's only 9-1, so you couldn't really back him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a mighty race, but I'd be wanting 20-25-1 to be backing him. But like he clearly has a lot of talent, and I'm just wondering now if they've got the fizz out of him and stick the hood back on, bit of professional handling.
He was running in bumpers with Facile Vega.
He was, yeah, which is wild to say. The horse is also, I think he's only ever won under Patrick Mullins once, if I'm not mistaken. He won on his debut with
the day we were at Leopardstown and Galloping the Champs on his beginner's chase. It's the day he won the bumper, and he went by the post like he was on the way to the start. Did you ever see when they're trying to hold on to him?
Yeah,
the horse's head is in the air, the mouth open.
Yeah. Jody Townend's done all the winning on him. I'm just wondering now to see how he'll run, or if they maybe stick Danny on him. We'll see though. I don't really have an opinion, because obviously Joystick's going to the Golden Signet. He would have been my pick here. I suppose Kay Dahi maybe, but even though the form has had a few knocks out of it, but what's worth noting was that Kay Dahi was absolutely friendless. The night before, he was a shade of odds on to win that maiden hurdle. He went off 7-2, so it clearly wasn't expected of him, which makes you think that is probably a good horse. With a gun to my head,
Willies were running below par at the time as well.
They were. They absolutely were. With a gun to my head, I'd be going with him, but it's not a race I'm going to be having a bet in. No way.
It would have been some double if you switched Joystick and Blue Devassi, wouldn't it?
Oh my god, yeah. It's annoying, but what can you do? Gun to my head, Kay Dahi, Blue Devassi, and relieved of duties, even though he's probably going into the Liffey, is what you said, going into the Liffey. He's probably running in the Liffey.
Guilty going into the Liffey.
He's running in the Liffey, to say. Right, the 210, the Dublin Chase, sponsored by Ladbrokes, 2 miles and a furlong. This is a very interesting race, actually, depending on whatever way you look. We've Gaelic Warrior set in the market, and the horse, for all intents and purposes, really hates Leopardstown. He's won around here once, but it was actually, funny enough, the Liffey that he won. Nearly ended up in the betting ring.
Nearly ended up in the Liffey.
Yeah, he nearly ended up tried to jump into the Liffey after the last. We've got 9 as of right now. El Fabiolo's participation, I think, is in doubt, but I think the rest of them are likely to run. Sinesia is obviously engaged in the Irish Champion Hurdle as well. Other than that, we've got Solness, Quilixios, Maria National, Gentleman to Me, Captain Guinness, and Blue Lord. So, Deck, you said Captain Guinness doesn't get this trip, which is blatantly obvious now at this rate. So, if you take him out, who do you like?
Well, as I've been telling you since the end of the summer, the horse had developed into a Grade 1 chaser, and he finally got his Grade 1 the other day at Solness, and he's much better on good ground. He's only 7. He was never going to like the ground at Sandown and Tingle Creek, and why would you not fancy him here? Because you've gone through them there, like Gaelic Warrior, you're always going to want to take him on. So am I.
I can't help myself.
Yeah. There's nothing in here. It's not a deep division. There's a lot of horse in here people like. There's a lot of favourite horses in here, but they're not really up to standard, in my opinion. Marie National has had his issues. Lots of issues. We don't know what his issues are. and he just hasn't looked like the horse who won the Supreme that time ever since. Apart from his chasing debut here, he was actually really, really good, but it's hard to see him ever, fulfilling that potential he showed. Blue Lord, not good enough. Captain Guinness won't get the triple. Fabiolo would suit him. Seasonal debut, coming back from an injury. You saying he still might not run. Gaelic Warrior, not well in the head, not really suited by Leopardstown, boiled over last year. Gentleman to me doesn't get the trip. You reckon he'll be strangled? Quilixios, think he could win a weak one. But
there's got to be more strength in a tea bag than if it was
shows his best when he's better placed. I think he'd pick up races when he's well placed. Sinesia should run in the champion hurdle to pick up prize money, which leaves you with Solness, who, when he wins this, could go to, goes to the Queen Mother with a chance. And unfortunately, Captain Guinness will be going there as well.
Absolutely. Vincent, that's the same. Yeah, it's the same Vincent Halley. It has to be.
Yeah. But Sinesia does turn up in these. Sinesia had a lot of potential as well as a young horse.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I remember he should have beaten was a Gentleman.
Was it? Or
no, it was actually. I think it was
something.
Hercule Desai. Oh my God! Yeah, that was a.
I think I backed him at a big price that day.
Yeah. That was coming back into the parade ring with. You're after getting too close there, bud. So I think as we mentioned there, Gentleman Day could be Grand Annual bound, possibly. We'll see. El Fabiolo, I don't think is going to make the race. I suppose we'll have to see for that. Blue Lord is probably fair to say is regressive now, 10-year-old. Captain Guinness, only one day in mind for him. It's the Mile and 7 at Cheltenham. Marine National. I think he could run a mighty race. I thought it was much more like it on the 27th there at Leopardstown. If he is going to win a Grade 1, I think it'll be this one. But he still has to go and prove it. And a 4-1, I'm willing to let him win. Quilixios, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It would want to be a very weak renewal. Would have claims, but I don't think is going to be winning this. You're probably right about Sinesia. Hopefully for the integrity of the sport, runs in the champion hurdle. And then, process of elimination, you're with Solness, who I think they're going to do the same thing. Just book him out and try and make all the running. That's probably the best opportunity for him to win. JJ Slevin won't be available. I'd be shocked if he was available because El Fabiolo and Blue Lord are in here. So it looks like it will be Danny Mullins to ride him. They'll probably try and do the same thing. And I would agree with you, Deck. I think he's the one you have to play here. Mainly out of process of elimination, but you were dead right. He is a Grade 1 horse. Still a young horse as well.
He's only 7.
So
and he's all that experience. Like he won a handicap chase at Fairyhouse on Hatton's Grace weekend as a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
takes a bit of doing.
It does. It absolutely does. So I suppose that's it. Yes, honest for both of us. Into the 2:45 then, the O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey Leopardstown Handicap Chase. You like O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey, Deck?
Never tried it.
Yeah, you're not a whiskey guy though, are you really?
No, I am. I do like a bit of whiskey, but I don't, time and a place. I used to drink a lot of it when I was younger, but I don't drink much of it anymore. I'm just too busy drinking wine now.
That's it. It's usually something you drink in college, and then you visit it when you're retired as well. So you revisit it when you're retired.
Come back to it.
Yeah, you circle around. I've never been a whiskey person. I know my limits. I know my comfort zone, I suppose. Right, so we have currently 22 runners in here, Deck. For me, this was the hardest handicap of the weekend. I struggled a little bit with this one now. Like, you have James de Burley, where all the money seems to be coming from. But you can hardly say that 152 is a gift of a rate, and he keeps hitting the crossbar around off these sort of marks. Pinkerton has been well found. A good bit of money for him. Very admirable horse. Obviously won a Galway plate and has ran pretty well, like his last 5 or 6 starts. Very, very consistent. I will be able to resist backing adamantly chosen. I think it's finally come that they're not working back.
Like, every time I've looked at this race, all I've thought is, I wonder are they walking back from this one?
No, they're probably working back from that conditions race at Down Royal that he fell in on last year.
On Paddy's Day.
On Paddy's Day, and I didn't even know he was running. He went and won. Right, yeah, I found this race hard. I did come down on one. I'll share it in a minute. But Deck, who do you like for the?
I found this quite difficult as well. I don't think there's anything. There probably is one horse really well handicapped, but I cannot stress enough how much handicap experience, how vital it is. And I'm okay with you making your handicap chase debut if you've handicap hurdle experience, but Back to Normal doesn't. Has he ever ran in a big field, maybe at Punchestown in the auction final, but not run like a handicap? This will be him into the fire now. Like, run. It's okay if you ran in grade ones, but going into a handicap is just different, and it normally takes, it's a bit of education for you, and the money seems to be for him all week, and everyone's been talking about him, but it's a massive negative for me that he's never ran in a handicap. Like, this race was loaded last year. You had the likes of Another Way You're Thinking. You had a few others making their handicap debut. Like, I mean, your handicap debut.
Hartwood, Percival,
Hartwood had ran in handicaps in France, and he was only chasing since he came to Ireland. But they all got an education in the race, and they had, other targets down the road. I can see similar enough with this horse. He is a big Twitter horse, Back to Normal. I just think having no handicap experience ever in your career is a massive negative going into a race like this. So I'll be keen to take him on. Pinkerton, he's a class act. He's won a Galway plate. He looks to be improving up in trip. He wasn't beaten fair in the Paddy Power. He's up £2 for that. You'd wonder, does the handicapper just have him though? Although you probably won't need to be really well handicapped to win this, because I don't think there's anything really lurking. So I can see him filling one of the places anyway. Search for Glory has grade one experience. He looked good in his beginner's chase when he won it. I would give him a chance over Back to Normal. I'd prefer to be punting Back to Normal in another race now, the next time. I'd probably get a credit union loan for them the next time. But I just think it's a massive negative. Where Search for Glory has that grade one experience. He ran at Limerick. But the one I think I'm going to come down on, Andy, and he is an old favourite of mine, it's Visionarian. Like, he has been a class act. He's little or no form since he won that Southern Europe chase at Gowran in October. The handicapper hasn't been very sound with him now. He's only trickling down the weights, but he was unlucky in the Galway play in 23 off 148. And stepping up in trip in a handicap, a pound lower. He's trained by Gavin Cromwell now as well. Not showing an awful lot since that run in October. Might be by design, and I think he could fall in here now. I am willing to chance him because I like the three of them, but I think I'm gonna side with Visionarian.
Visionarian then for Deck, 25-1 at the moment, or thereabouts.
10-year-old,
A 10-year-old, yeah, no,
you don't tip many of them around here.
It's a rare one, all right. Back to Normal, as you said, interesting enough runner. Looks like he's slightly out of the weights right now, but not enough to kind of put you off. I'd imagine people are looking at his last hurdles run where he beat Answer the Cave in that auction final. Obviously, Answer the Cave fresh in everyone's memories by tip by yourself winning at Nace on Sunday. Very
that was
impressive.
Off 130, was it?
Yeah, got £12, I think, for he's up to 142. So, look, I don't think Back to Normal, especially in his last two chase starts. He jumped nicely on his chase debut, but in his last two chase starts, especially the one behind the Atlantique, he was a bit dodgy now. So, I agree with you. I think he's best watched here. I came down on...
Sorry, Andy. Answer the Cave ran in the Martin Pipe.
You did?
How's that for a bit of handicap experience? Like, do you know what I mean? That was the difference last week. He had ran in a really, really competitive handicap. Whereas this horse never. Yeah, and this horse has, might have been the beating of him, the fact he never ran him one before. But this horse has never gone handicap pace, never jumped a handicap pace. He'll need to be educated around here, in my opinion.
Most likely, and we'll see how he gets on. If he does win, he'd probably go and win again somewhere. So,
if he wins, you hope he wins by a short head, and he can just keep backing him.
Yeah, we'll see. Won't be going to Cheltenham though, or anywhere in England, because this will only be his 4th run. Actually, 4 runs. Actually, I think you're all right over fences, so maybe you will be. We'll see. All these bloody rules. Anyway, I've came down on Monbeg Park, 8-year-old for the Doyles. Look, he was a good run last time out behind Gorgeous Tom in November, beaten 5 lengths. Gorgeous Tom obviously went on to run quite close in the Drimore. Beaten half a length before that by Jordan's at Punchestown in a grade 3. That was a really good effort. Just coming back from those 2 graded races, has handicap experience, is what you said there, Dec, over hurdles. I don't think he's ran the handicap chase to my knowledge. He's ran a good few handicap hurdles anyway. Like, even though he's a 132 rated hurdler, you could make the argument he could have been a better hurdler. It took him a while to get the hang of the chase game. He has got the hang of it now, and I'd imagine he'll go well now. He's around 8-1, and I wouldn't be surprised if they earmark this race for him. To be honest with you, I think he definitely has an opportunity off this mark, 138. So Monbeg Park for me, and Visionarian for yourself, is it?
Yeah, look, I can see Pinkerton and Search for Glory finishing in the first 6 anyway. I can see the Trading finishing the first. Yeah, I'll give Visionarian a go. Roll back the years a bit.
Visionarian, rolling back the years. Right, the 320, the Irish Champion hurdle. Looks like it's going to be the Willie Mullins show. Very, very good chance that he is the only represented trainer in this race, as Feast of Derry ran only last week. And Sinesia is also engaged, as we mentioned, in the Grade 1 chase on the card. So we both think Sinesia is going to run here anyway, and it doesn't really matter. He's only rated 134. He hasn't a prayer, but this is basically State Man versus Lossy Mouth, isn't it? But
if you 20 runners, Andy, it'd still be State Man versus Lossy.
It's still versus exactly.
Except one of them might get brought down by something else in the field. So I don't mind it too much.
With that said, do you think Paul Townend rides State Man or Lossy Mouth?
State Man. He's not getting off State Man. How can he get off State Man when 2 runs ago he headed Brighter Days Ahead, who had race fitness on her side after the last, and probably took a blow? He's only beaten 3/4 of a length. We've mentioned that Willie's horse is wedding right at Christmas, and he was beaten by Winter Fog, but it's not like he went with Brighter Days Ahead and she broke him, and he was, picked up by Winter Fog. He couldn't go with her. Like, it wasn't the State Man we know, and we do know that there's nothing flashy, there's nothing sexy about State Man. He's just the ultimate professional. He just turns up, he does his job, and he goes home. He's been a joy to follow over the last few years. I hope he's okay. If he is okay, I think he wins it, because Lossy Mouth doesn't look like, she doesn't look like a horse quick enough for 2 miles. And the vibes aren't good, talking about, well, we were teaching them to settle and stay. Suddenly they have to wind her up again for 2 mile pace, and I'm not sure how easy it is now. If somebody is going to do it, it'll be Willie. But State Man's the reigning champion hurdler, and he's a serial Grade 1 winner. He's, assuming he's still himself, he's the one to beat. Like, if the 2 of these turn up at the top of the game, I think State Man wins it, and he'd probably make it look boring.
Interesting. Yeah, I've no real opinion on the race. I was just wondering, because State Man has been around for such a long time, only been, he's a 3-year-old hurdler, beaten by Bustleton on his first ever start, no less. You're just wondering when if they're that young and they get to 8, have they cried enough? And I don't know if that's what that run looked like, but you can't judge it off one run. You just have to forgive a horse one run. I've always said that. So, and then you've obviously got Lossiemouth. I don't think she ran that badly behind Constitution Hill. Again, I think it was just a quick round at Kempton, just took her off her feet. It was her first time ever encountering anything like that, really.
Look, there's a good chance she didn't let down on that ground.
Same as Ballyburn,
yeah, but it was from the get-go. She was flat to the boards. Looked to be going. But again, I suppose none of Willie's were right at Christmas.
No, absolutely not. I very rarely have a bet in the Irish Champion Hurdle, and this year is going to be no different. I'm going to sit back and watch Lossiemouth take on State Man. I don't know who's going to win. I'm not the person to ask the opinion. Deck, are you willing to give an opinion?
On the race?
On the race. You think State Man wins, do you?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, State Man for Deck, and I'm getting splinters in my arse from sitting on a fence for that one. Right, the 350, the Liffey. Who's jumping into Liffey this in 2025? Or I'll give it the sponsor's name. I should, because I've done it for all of them. The timeless.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Go on. They restore windows. It's grand.
They only restore windows. So if you break one of Deck's windows, timeless sash windows will repair said window, and that's a handicap hurdle. And not to 150, and I think it's 150 grand actually, this race. I think it's 100 grand. Could be wrong, but I think it's 150 grand. 88 of that to the winner, or 88 and change to the winner. 24 currently entered, Deck. I suppose I have to start with Old Man Dingle, because he did us a great favour on the Handicaps podcast at Christmas time, despite not settling and still winning as he liked. Absolutely. I was actually very impressed with that performance, as he jumped well and didn't settle, and he still won and beat Tap on the Go, who ran fine at Naas. For me, he's a top 12 to 15 novice in the country based on what he did there and how progressive he is. So the question mark is, he's coming down in trip. Will he be allowed? Will he be
Colin White knew because he wouldn't give us fancy prices.
Yeah, he wouldn't give us. No one would give us. We were going around. I think we tipped it to everyone in debits.
Yeah.
Or at least I did anyway. It's going back on my 10th point. Oh man, Dingle tomorrow. I don't.
We met Paul Malone that night. I hope he had a few quid on.
Yeah, well, Colin White, he wouldn't give us the price, but I think he had a few quid himself. Right, so he's rattled off a hat trick. He's back down to 2 miles. The horse is clearly trip versatile. Look, Ricky Dawes probably going to ride him again. There's an awful lot to like about this horse. I don't know if there's many novices in the country better than him based on what he's shown.
Coming back and trip though into it.
No, I ideally not, but like he's already won. He's beaten a horse that I very much liked as well. At Wexford, Tony Well, who gets a mention half the time. Look, he's beaten him. He's beaten him well, and he's gone and beaten Tap on the Go. So I would have much preferred this race be at 2.5 miles. But like for me, the way he won that race on the 29th, like he is in could be anything territory for me now, because he had no right to win that race, in my opinion. He just didn't settle. I will have a little bet on him. I'm not as confident on him as I was on the 29th, and it is because of the drop in trip. But I do think he'll be able to cope with the drop in trip. And I think he has a fair each way chance. He's priced accordingly around 10 to 1. But I wouldn't put you off him if you wanted to go again. Sure, he owes us nothing. Deck, who do you like in the Liffey?
First of all, you need an awful lot of luck in this race.
Yeah, you do, yeah. Remember, added by Charlie last year, I think it was sluiced up, but he fell at
unless you're so well handicapped, you're the grade 1 horse so well handicapped that you can go around the field, and stay out of trouble. But look, I was looking at James's gate, and I was, I thought he's going the right way now. Finally, he obviously hasn't been easy to train, but I still assume that he was trained by Willie Mullins, and you remind me here that he's now trained by Martin Brazel, which tells me that he may not show his hand fully here because he may be stepping up in trip in just over a month's time. But look, he's had 40 coats, McLaury and Joystick in behind him. McLaury Yeah, it is. Like McLaury was 5 lengths off him and rated £16 inferior here. Won a maiden the next time out at where, Andy?
I'm going to take a guess, Limerick.
Limerick.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it's his handicap debut. Like, if you're going to do a handicap debut in a race like this, you probably have to be a Grade 1 horse. You know, in a big field, going this quick, you probably have to be a Grade 1 horse to do a handicap debut, in my opinion. Which brings me back, like, related duties in here. It is his handicap debut, but the Tour de Salvador Monday, look, I've gone through his form already in covering was it the last race? No, it was
the Old Delight, the 2 mile.
The Old Delight, yeah. Like, I've gone through his form there. Look, which one is he going to run in? It's looking like he could run here, and he's of massive interest to me if he does run here. The other one that catches me eye, and I can't believe he's rated 119. The only thing is, he has burst before. It's Irish Panther. I'm surprised rated 119. He's kept such good company, and he's still lightly enough raced. He was third in his handicap debut the last day at Leopardstown.
Allegedly in the fog.
Allegedly. Well, we did. We got the result anyway. So
yeah, he could have jumped across the golf course though. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody better go on.
He's trained by Eddie Hardy now. You know, had a nice winner last week and well dressed. We told you that was the one to watch, but we didn't back it. We didn't back it ourselves. But look, this horse coming here with the handicap experience. I might take 2, Andy. I'll take Relieve the Duties and Irish Panther, because if Relieve the Duties is a graded horse, he could probably win it. But Irish Panther is ticking the boxes. 119. I'm still a little bit shocked, because we were talking about this horse early top days, and he was, you know, was it him, Quantum Storm, and Ballybourne that were the 3 of them were favourite all in the one day in the bumper at Punchestown one day.
Yeah, that was it. It was him, Quantum Storm, and Ballybourne ended up winning the race.
And
I think we had a nice bet on it. I think we all fancied Irish Panther. We had a nice punt on them.
Did we not back them all at one stage, Jordan?
We nearly did, I think, because the way the markets flip-flopped,
But look, he's had his handicap debut and he was a staying on third. He's ticking a lot of the boxes for this, but I do like Relieve the Duties. Look, I'll take the 2 of them in a bit of a minefield.
Okay, so Relieved of Duties and Irish Panther for deck. I'll stick with Old Man Dingle. I'm not saying it's biased, but like, he is on a 4-timer, but I think he's I still think he's progressive. Admittedly, I would rather race at 2.5 miles, but this is too decent a pot to pass up, and he deserves to take his chance. A little shout out as well to Beckett Rock, possibly a little bit fortunate to win, because Bunting was lucky not to unseat down the back straight and did very, very well to finish second. And it's hard to argue Got Glory wouldn't have won the race if he'd stayed up. He fell at the second, or she. Is she or he? I can't remember now. Anyway, probably would have won if jumping the second last correctly. Bunting was in here as well. Would have actually very much fancied him, but he has been taken out. So I'll keep him in mind for a future date and possibly a future podcast. Right, Deck. The 425, the Mares bumper. This looks very strong. We've seen a lot of good Mares contest bumpers in the last couple of months, and the vast majority of them are showing up here. We've last year's placed mare switch from Diesel now at Ross O'Sullivan in here as well, 20-1. Future Prospect, who created quite a big impression and is now owned by Magner. Which is quite interesting. Good to see those colours back. And then we've obviously Carrickmoon Spruce, who we backed the half sister of at Gowran last week. And then we've obviously Amen Kate as well, Thomas Cooper, who beat Carrickmoon Spruce at Listowel in very impressive fashion. So this is extremely competitive and probably very informative. But who do you like here for the concluding race?
Andy,
Race Festival?
I will be ending the meeting the way I started the meeting.
Right, go on.
Declan Queally.
Lovely. Okay. Tell me why.
Look, I was at Nice today. She won. Where was it, back in November?
Yeah.
And look, she won again here at Christmas, and she got going late, but she's race fitness on her side. She's race experience on her side. I know she was beaten by Amen Kate and Listowel, but I fancy her here. And as we said, Queely's going to be 3-0 up after the first 3 races. He's a man in form at the moment, so
he is.
No, I like her, and yeah, we'll start with Deco, we'll end with Deco.
Good old Declan Quayle. Should give him a mention in one of the titles. Maybe he probably deserves one. Right, yeah, I was going through all these all these horses. Glonnagwill or Gongwilcha Hours, is it? Glongwilcha Hours. Jonathan Swaley. Jonathan Swaley mare, obviously by Old Man River, same sort as Old Man Dingle. She created a nice impression as well, winning at Tramore. Probably a race that you weren't going to go look at straight away and go, Janie Mac, there's a graded bumper winner. But the way she came from the back and was well on top at the end, I thought was quite impressive. Could see her outrunning her likely big odds. But I do agree with you. I think Carrickmount Spruce has improved no end from that first run at Listowel, where Amen Kate came with a wet sail. I think they're going to be a lot closer this time around. And as we see, Declan Quayle's horses are flying. They're absolutely flying. So, yeah, I'll probably follow you in there. I might have a little saver on Sweeney's mare each way, because I could actually see that only going one way in the market, and that's drifting, because you don't see a Tramore winner go, to a Leopardstown bumper like that too often. But she was quite professional in the way she did it, and I think it might be a little bit better than people are giving it credit for. Deck, do we have a nap at the tap? It has to be either, I suppose, Carrickmount, Spruce, or Solness. Definitely not as strong as Midnight it is, but
it sounded like Solness when we were talking about it. That's what it's
sounded. Okay. No, I agree with you. Nap at the top. I don't have the time, but I probably do. But nap at the top is Solness in the Dublin Chase Grade 1. Hopefully he can make all the running, presumably under Danny Mullins, because JJ is going to be riding for his contracted owners now. So Solness in the Dublin Chase brings us to an end of hopefully a very successful Dublin Racing Festival. Quite a lot of fun covering that. Really enjoyed it. And after speaking about it for the last 3 days, I'm kind of looking forward just to watching all the action now. Not that I didn't enjoy this, thoroughly did. A lot of fun. But Dec, thank you for the company.
Yeah,
as usual.
Cheers. Look,
any leaving comments? Yeah.
Yeah, look, a lot of people have said, they want to grab us a point and stuff and that, and we absolutely do. We'll do our best.
I don't know, but would our livers be able to handle it, the amount of those messages? Yeah, yours might. I'll be firmly off the bridle.
We're not asking anyone to voice Gary. That's not what we're saying in the slightest. We're dying to meet loads of people, and we'll do our best to bump into everyone. It will be a busy couple of days as well, but we'll be knocking around town as well. So look, if we do happen to bump into you or you see us, come and say hello. And this is what it's about, isn't it? It's top class racing, and seems to be a lot of anticipation for this podcast and this meeting. So
pressure's on.
But look, just looking forward to going racing again, and a good atmosphere. What's been a really good weekend. Starting to take a little bit of stick about because it's not as competitive. I don't know. We're struggling. How can it not be competitive? We're really struggling to find good things in there. So, I think this meeting is still competitive. And even if people don't have the ammunition to take on Willie, he takes his own horses on.
Yeah, so he'll take them on with himself.
Look, hope everyone has a great weekend. Don't gamble too hard. It is really, really competitive. So, we all get sucked into having a bet, I suppose, on the really competitive and the big days. But there's easier winners, and we'll probably have them for you Monday at Punchestown.
Probably
So don't go mad the weekend, but just go mad in the points.
That's it. And if we get a good reaction to our post about Saturday's racing, we'll run back. Are we smarter than a 9-year-old on Twitter maybe on Sunday morning? If George is up for it, only if George is up for it. Don't want to put him on.
No, look, absolutely. Come here. If George wins, he'll have a seat in here beside me next week.
Very good, yeah. Looking forward to it. But until then, guys, just keep like, sharing, subscribe, and commenting. And if you want to stick your super Heinzes or super duper Heinzes, this is an eight race card, isn't it?
Look, Richie's already sent one to us, so
the Goliath, I think, is an 8, is it? Or it could be 10. I don't know. I've never bet that. I've never done that many. I think
it's super Peruvian. Get your super Peruvians into us, right? Definitely get them in for Saturday, but we want to see them for Sunday as well. And like, I love it. I love a super Bolivian. Yeah, you know, there's no shame in doing a super Bolivian. You have to keep the dream alive. You know, for small money.
A super Bolivian sounds like a player you sign on loan in January that keeps it in the Premier League. Mate, he scores about 10 goals in the second half of the season.
I know a fella.
You finished 17th.
I know a fella is the punt in the super Bolivian B League.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That might be us if this doesn't go well. Just keep like, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all the good stuff, guys. And until next time on Tap 92, we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.